Okay, so hello everybody. I'm Yuan. I'm sitting here together with my co-founder Nuno. Hi Nuno, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm also good actually. I just brought a cup of coffee, so starting to feeling the energy again.
That's good.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, so sure, like this is the first video we're doing, so we might introduce ourselves a little bit more properly. Okay, let's do like this. What's one interesting thing about Nuno Pato?
One, I think I hope there's many interesting things about Minipot, but no, I'm joking. I like sweet potato a lot. Is that an interesting thing? No, I'm joking. Uh,
Yeah, it's an
I'm
interesting
I'm
thing.
from I'm from a very beautiful island called San Miguel in the archipelago of the Azores. I think that's an interesting thing.
Okay, so one interesting thing about me, I was a master in StarCraft 2 with Protoss.
Ah, StarCraft. Yeah. I never played it. Never
It's really
played it.
fun.
But that's interesting. Way more interesting than sweet potatoes.
No, it's equally
Equally
interesting.
interesting.
Let's bring up Nhost. Like you and I are building Nhost. We are the two co-founders and the only people working on Nhost. And how do you describe Nhost to people? They already know a little bit of development and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. We know what we want from the platform or from a platform like Nhost.
Hmm.
But when you're trying to explain that to other people, it's actually tricky because there's so many platforms out there that they do. There's lots of commonalities between them, but they have their own specific platform, specific features, and we're trying to find the subset of all of them that we find more appealing, and that we find that the majority of developers out there will actually embrace in the near future. For me, Nhost is a opinionated backend that supports everything from when you start to think about infrastructure up to a point where you actually push changes to your GitHub or Bitbucket. When you push your changes there and you actually see those changes mirrored on your platform, on your infrastructure. And Nhost should take care of all of that. So that's the way I see the high level explanation of Nhost. There's lots of things we can go into, but
I like Firebase slogan about themselves. I think they say something like "We help developers succeed." So that's a very broad
yeah,
statement, and then you can sort of go down one level. Okay, how do you help a developer succeed? The values we create for customers are a quicker development time, and quicker, or let's say like this: the value we create for customers is that they can focus on their app and on their users, and we will handle the backend, so they don't need to worry about infrastructure configuration, and they don't even have to worry about some choices that we make for them. Like we specifically say it's going to be a SQL database, it's going to be a GraphQL. As you say, like it's opinionated.
yes, exactly. Maybe we should start by defining what the terms infrastructure and platform are exactly. But like infrastructure is not only in the typical definition, it's not only about the bare metal or the VMs where your workloads run. It's also the API. APIs can also be considered infrastructure, and the database instance, the logging service. Those are things that every app builder will need eventually, right? If we're talking about mobile app development specifically, we can even bring Crashlytics into the equation. So there's lots of things that we can build there that are definitely something that developers will need in the future. And of course, make everything work together in a cohesive and coherent way is also our goal at Nhost. We want to be opinionated on the workflow itself as well. Of course, giving some flexibility here and there.
And just some raw facts. What you get from Nhost is a Postgres database. You get Hasura, gives you a GraphQL API automatically on top of your Postgres database. We also provide authentication, so you can log in your users, register your users, and also storage, so you can have your users upload funny pictures of cats if that's what you want to do. So that's
Yes.
sort of what Nhost is, in terms of raw functionality, what you get really right now. Okay, so from one thing to another, let's say a few words about how we met and Antler. We met at Antler being a startup generator. The idea with Antler is, they bring, I think, roughly 100 people together. I think they screened over 1,000 people. 100 people came together to start companies, brainstorm ideas. I came into Antler with an idea with Nhost, and I wanted to find a co-founder, and we both met there. What are some takeaways from Antler?
I think Antler was definitely an interesting experience. There was lots of people. We met lots of people, lots of different people with different backgrounds, and that per se is already interesting, right? Like you meet lots of different people. That was nice. The concept itself is also interesting. I don't know to which extent it actually works, because we're still in the beginning, and even the companies from previous cohorts, it's still too early to say. But the concept is interesting in the sense that no one knows each other, and you mingle for a couple weeks, then you start choosing or picking the people that you find interesting and that you would eventually like to work with. Of course, it's shoot in the dark, in the sense that you don't really know someone after 2 weeks of just mingling, but it was interesting nonetheless, and lots of ideas bouncing around. So that was interesting, I would say. I liked the first month a lot, because there was just so much networking going on. It was intense and exhausting as well, but worth the time, I think.
Yeah, it was very intense. And I think the way you get the most value out of Antler is really to talk with a lot of people, and don't get stuck with one idea or with one set of people from the beginning. Or you really need to don't get stuck in the beginning, in the first weeks. Talk with everyone, explore everything. Would you agree?
Yes, yeah. And that's exactly what makes it exhausting, because you never bring your social guards down at any point, because you're always talking with new people and people that you just met. And but again, it's an interesting social experiment.
It is. And they have global presence. Antler is also a new concept, so we'll see how it goes. But so far, I really enjoyed it, and I recommend it to my friends.
Yeah, the staff was definitely really helpful, and I think they are doing a great job of putting us in touch with the external VCs and experts within specific industries. I think that's very valuable.
Yeah, awesome. So let's wrap this up a little bit. We don't have any script really. We're just going with the flow. We'll see how this sort of format will evolve over the coming weeks. But as some closing, what are some things that we are going to work on this week? For myself, I'm right now exploring how to best implement Next.js together with Nhost, because we have some requests from our customers who want to do server-side rendering together with Nhost. So I will try to get an example project up on that. What else? I have some idea. Yeah, I actually have an idea of we need to learn more about our customers, right? So I had an idea that when you create an Nhost project, it takes 30 or 45 seconds to get it up and running, right? So you just see the spinner loading.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking on that screen, on that 30, 45 second, we should have 3 easy questions with multiple choice answers. It's what framework are you going to use with Nhost? And maybe it's React Native, Next.js, Vue, and also maybe what are you going to use Nhost for? Testing out, building a new app, and then one other question.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
And also that should be on the left, and then on the right, it should be not just a spinner, but also some logging from initiating database, creating SSL certificate, because we can make that information be there in real time.
Yeah, it's real-time feedback, more self-explanatory feedback, not just a spinner. Yeah, that's always good. We just need the manpower and the time to implement those things.
No,
Yeah,
but
maybe
I
this
think I
is.
will. I think I will do that this week because it's really valuable to get that information from users. Like we
Yeah,
have a
me.
Discord channel, we get a lot of information and feedback there. People are emailing us and being active on GitHub. But the more, the better.
From my side, I am now just writing the deployment guide for Nhost, like on the Azure documentation for Nhost. That will probably be ready later today. And after that, I might jump back into the CLI. Or there's also, like I started a couple of weeks ago, I started some integration work with Caddy Server 2.0. They don't have an integration with DigitalOcean yet, which we're using to manage some of our subdomains. So I might finish that as well. That's not very, very high priority, but since I started it, and I think I just need a few hours more to let it out of the door, to get it out of the door. So, but my focus will be the CLI.
Awesome. All right, we'll leave it to that. Thank you for listening. Thank you for viewing, and we'll try to do this once a week. We'll see how that goes. If I get Nuno on board now, you are. I shouldn't say that.
Once a month.
No.
Once a month. A week.
We'll try to do this once a week to keep you guys updated. All right. Ciao.